The scream is cut short. Not by a gunshot, but by a hand pressed hard over a mouth. Somewhere inside the barracks, a body slumps onto cold concrete, boots scraping once, then stopping. The air smells of disinfectant and damp wool. Outside, a searchlight sweeps across barbed wire, its hum steady, indifferent. Inside the infirmary, a woman in a white coat doesn't look up. She keeps writing, pen scratching, calm, precise, as if nothing has happened at all. A guard pauses at the door. He hesitates, then moves on. No questions, no report. The camp remains silent. Too silent. Prisoners exchange glances they've learned never to hold too long. Because in this place, silence isn't enforced by weapons. It's enforced by something far more terrifying. Who is the woman in the infirmary, and why does everyone, guards included, pretend not to see what happens around her? The pen stops. She finally looks up. And what she knows could destroy every man and woman trapped behind this wire? Asterisk. The camp sits deep inside Germany. Winter of 1944. Officially. It is a medical holding facility for Allied prisoners of war deemed non-combat effective on paper. It's clean, orderly, humane. Red Cross inspections pass without incident. Records are immaculate. Too immaculate. Inside the wire are airmen, medics, resistance couriers, men and women captured across occupied Europe. Many arrive wounded. Many arrive sick. Some arrive perfectly healthy and become ill within weeks. The only constant is the infirmary, the heart of the camp, run by a German doctor known simply as Fräulein Doctor. No first name in the records. No photograph. Just her signature neat, looping, unmistakable. To the guards, she is invaluable. Prisoners who pass through her care stop asking questions, stop filing complaints, stop talking about what they've seen. To the prisoners, she is something else entirely. A rumor, a warning, a presence that turns whispered conversations into swallowed words. What's at stake isn't just survival, it's memory. Because in this camp, the danger isn't dying, it's disappearing while still alive. And every path seems to lead back to the woman in white. Asterisk. The silence breaks the night. A British flight surgeon collapses during roll call. He doesn't cry out. He simply folds, as if his strings have been cut. When they carry him to the infirmary, several prisoners notice something chilling. His name is already written in the medical ledger. Date, symptoms. Outcome, left blank. Word spreads in fragments. Someone swears they saw him walking days earlier, perfectly healthy. Another claims he overheard an argument between the doctor and an SS officer. Voices sharp, controlled, urgent. A third insists the infirmary lights stayed on all night long after curfew. By morning, the surgeon is gone. His bunk is empty. His effects neatly stacked. The guards say he's been transferred. The transport list says otherwise. And when a prisoner dares to ask the doctor directly, she meets his eyes for the first time. "You didn't see him," she says softly. Not a threat. A correction. That night, the questioning prisoner is summoned to the infirmary. The door closes, and the camp waits to hear if it will open again. Asterisk. Chaos does not arrive all at once inside the camp. It seeps in, quietly, like dampness creeping through stone. It begins with routines. Breaking down roll call lasts longer than it should. A guard stumbles over names he has recited for months. He clears his throat, starts again. Prisoners shift their weight in the snow, boots sinking, knees locking, breath turning to frost in front of their faces. One name is called twice, another not at all. No correction is made. No explanation given. Eyes flick sideways. Not long enough to be noticed. Just long enough to count who is missing. Someone whispers. "He was coughing yesterday," someone else mutters. "She went to the infirmary." No one finishes the sentence. The camp has learned a new rule. The infirmary is not a place you go to heal. It is a place you go to vanish. Inside Barracks 3. The air is thick with the smell of unwashed bodies, damp straw, and fear. Men and women sit shoulder to shoulder on bunks, never meant for sleep, only waiting. Waiting for whistles. Waiting for orders. Waiting for footsteps that stop at the door instead of passing by. A French resistance courier presses his ear to the wall. He hears nothing. That, somehow, is worse. Across the aisle, a Canadian airman unwraps the bandage on his hand. The cut is red, swollen, angry. In any other place, he would report it. Get it cleaned. Treat it here. He hides it beneath his sleeve, because yesterday, a man with a similar wound was told to report to the infirmary. He never came back. His bunk is already occupied by someone new, as if he never existed at all. A whispered voice moves through the barracks like smoke. They erase you. No. They empty you. They don't kill you. They make you stop. No one asks what that means. They're afraid they already know. From the guard tower, camp looks orderly. Barbed wire gleams under frost. Searchlights sweep in practiced arcs. Barracks stand in neat rows. Smoke rises where it's supposed to rise, but the guards feel it too. A young Wehrmacht corporal grips his rifle tighter than necessary. He has been posted here only 2 weeks, yet already he has learned something the veterans never say aloud. You don't question the infirmary. You don't linger near it, and you never, under any circumstances, interrupt the doctor while she is working. Tonight, as he passes the infirmary windows, he hears the clink of glass, the metallic whisper of instruments being laid out, calm, methodical, almost comforting. Then he hears a sound that makes him stop, a voice muffled, slow, struggling to form words. Please. I remember. The corporal freezes. Inside, the voice fades. A drawer slides shut. Liquid pours. A chair scrapes softly across the floor. Moments later, the doctor steps into view. Her white coat is spotless. Her hair perfectly pinned. She meets the corporal's eyes through the glass. He snaps to attention without thinking. She nods once. The sound does not return. The corporal resumes his patrol and never speaks of it again. Inside the infirmary, the doctor works with surgical precision. She does not shout. She does not threaten. She does not rush. That is what makes her terrifying. Patients lie on narrow beds beneath dim lights. Some are wounded. Some are feverish. Some show no visible injury at all. They are all treated the same way, with efficiency, restraint, and a gaze that never lingers longer than necessary. She asks questions as she works, not interrogations. Conversations. Where were you stationed? How long since your capture? Do you still dream about home? The questions seem harmless, almost kind, but prisoners begin to notice something. Those who answer fully stay longer. Those who hesitate stay longer still. And those who say nothing, those who stare at the ceiling and refuse to speak, are discharged within days. Returned to the barracks, alive, changed, silent. One British sergeant returns from the infirmary walking stiffly, as if his joints no longer trust each other. His eyes are open, alert, but empty. When asked what happened, he blinks slowly. They treated me, he says. Treated how? He considers the question for a long time. I don't. Remember being sick? At night he wakes screaming, not words. Just sound, the next morning. He cannot recall why. Rumors spread faster than disease. They say the doctor was trained before the war, in places that no longer officially exist. They say she worked with neurologists experimenting on trauma victims, shell-shocked soldiers. Political prisoners, they say the camp is not her assignment. It is her laboratory, and the prisoners are not inmates. They are data from the command office. Tension tightens like a noose. Reports pile up that do not align. Numbers don't match. Transfers are logged that never arrive. Medical outcomes are too clean. Too final. An SS officer slams a folder shut. People do not simply disappear. He snaps. The camp commander rubs his temples. According to her records, he says carefully, they do not disappear. They are resolved. Resolved. The word hangs in the air. The officer lowers his voice. Berlin did not authorize, she reports directly. The commander interrupts. Above both of us? A pause. From where? The officer asks. The commander does not answer, because neither of them truly knows. Asterisk, back in the barracks. Prisoners begin to test the boundaries of silence. A Polish medic pretends not to hear questions. He answers with shrugs, with nods, with nothing at all. He is sent to the infirmary anyway. When he returns, 2 days later, he moves carefully, like a man relearning gravity. He eats when food is placed in his hands. He sleeps when the lights go out. When asked what happened, he says only one thing. She told me forgetting is a form of mercy. He never speaks again. The camp changes its rhythm. Night transports become common. Trucks arrive without insignia. Engines idle with lights off. Names are read quietly. Prisoners are escorted away without ceremony. No lists are posted. No explanations offered. The infirmary light burns long after midnight. Inside, the doctor burns paper in a small iron stove, 1 page at a time, watching each corner curl, each word blacken, each name vanish. Her hands shake now, just slightly enough to notice. During one inspection, a Red Cross observer remarks on the calmness of the prisoners. They are compliant, he says. The doctor smiles politely. They are being treated, she replies. The observer nods, writes something down, and leaves behind him. The door closes with a soft click. The smile fades. Fear reaches a breaking point when a typhus scare is announced. Barracks are sealed. Quarantine imposed. Anyone showing symptoms is to be reported immediately. Prisoners panic. A cough becomes a death sentence. Men bite their tongues to suppress fevers. Women hide rashes beneath filthy bandages. No one dares seek help except those already too weak to choose. They are carried to the infirmary. They do not come back. One night, a prisoner tries to escape. He is caught before reaching the wire, dragged screaming past the infirmary. Doors the screams stop in the morning. There is no record of him at all. Not in punishment logs, not in death registers, not anywhere it is, as if the camp itself has swallowed him by now. Even the guards avoid eye contact with the doctor. They follow her orders instantly. They do not linger. They do not ask questions, because they have seen what happens to those who do. A junior officer once challenged her authority, asked for documentation, threatened to escalate. He was reassigned the next day. No one knows where. No one ever hears his name again. The prisoners begin counting days not by calendars, but by lights. If the infirmary light stays on all night, someone is being worked on. If it goes out early, someone has been finished. Each night becomes a gamble, each dawn a quiet relief, and yet, amid the terror, something unexpected happens. Some prisoners start surviving longer. Those who say nothing, those who remember nothing, those who learn the most. Important lesson of the camp: silence is survival, but silence has a cost. Memories slip faces. Blur names, lose meaning. Men forget the sound of their own language. Women forget the weight of their own pasts. They are alive, but something essential is being peeled away, layer by layer, inside the infirmary. The doctor pauses before her ledger. She hesitates, then writes one final note for the night. Subject stabilized. Resistance eliminated. Silence achieved. She closes the book. Outside, the camp holds its breath, because whatever is happening inside those walls is no longer contained, and soon it will demand a reckoning. Asterisk, the war begins to arrive at the camp, not as bombs but as rumors. They drift in on guarded whispers. Intercepted radio static, guards drinking too much and speaking too freely. The Allies are advancing. Cities are falling. Rail lines are being cut. Berlin is silent more often than it should be, for the first time. The camp feels something close to hope, and that is when the doctor accelerates her work. The infirmary, no. Longer sleeps. Lights burn through the night, casting long white bars across the frozen yard. Gurneys roll at hours they never used to. Patients are moved faster now with less explanation. Less pretense of recovery, the ledger thickens. New terminology appears: final stabilization, cognitive resolution, post-transfer compliance. No one knows where transferred means anymore, only that no one transferred ever returns. Inside barracks, too. A quiet resistance begins not of weapons, but of memory. Prisoners start writing things down: names, dates, faces, fragments of conversations. Anything they fear might be taken from them next. Scraps of paper are hidden beneath floorboards, sewn into clothing, memorized in pairs so that if one person disappears, another can carry the knowledge forward. They whisper to each other at night: if I forget, remind me who I was. If I stop speaking, tell them my name. They are no longer trying to escape the camp. They are trying to escape erasure. The doctor notices. She always does. Patients begin returning from the infirmary, faster but altered. Not emptied, sharpened. Their silence feels intentional now. Their eyes follow movements too carefully. Their stillness unsettles even the guards. One prisoner whispers a theory, so dangerous it almost dies in his throat. She's choosing whom to erase completely, choosing whom to leave intact, choosing whom to turn into something else, because some of the silent ones are listening and reporting. The first death happens in the infirmary that cannot be hidden. An elderly Soviet POW suffers cardiac arrest during a procedure. The guards panic. The body is moved too quickly. A bloodstain is missed beneath the bed. By morning, prisoners have seen it. Real blood. Real death. Not disappearance. The illusion cracks. If the doctor can fail, she can be exposed. That same day, it's the American nurse, the one who still remembers too much, gets access to the infirmary storage room. She is supposed to inventory supplies. Instead, she finds files, not medical charts, profiles, psychological assessments, resistance likelihood scores, language retention charts, annotations in precise handwriting. Subject resists identity loss. Subject retains loyalty under sedation. Subject unsuitable for silence. Protocol. Her hands shake as she realizes the truth. This camp is not about punishment. It is about control after the war ends. About deciding who will remember what happened here and who will not. She tears a page free, just one, folds it into her sleeve, and in doing so, crosses a line that cannot be uncrossed, because the doctor is watching her from the doorway, expression unreadable. You shouldn't carry things you don't understand, the doctor says calmly. The nurse doesn't respond. She cannot trust her voice. The doctor steps aside, allowing her to pass. For now. That night, air raid sirens howl. Searchlights whip wildly across the sky. Anti-aircraft guns thunder in the distance. The camp plunges into chaos. Guards scrambling. Prisoners forced into shelters. Command lines breaking down. And for the first time since the camp was built, the infirmary is left unlocked. The doctor is summoned to command, and silence. Asterisk. Prisoners move without speaking. They know where to go. The infirmary doors swing open. Inside, they find the truth. Not torture devices. Not blood-soaked tables, but shelves upon shelves of documentation. Names linked to outcomes. Faces linked to compliance. Entire lives reduced to neurological margins. This is not madness. It is order. Terrifying. Intentional order. Footsteps echo. The doctor returns. Smoke drifts in from distant fires. Emergency lights flicker red across her white coat. She does not shout. She does not draw a weapon. She simply looks at them. You think this ends with the war? She says quietly. It doesn't. She gestures to the files. Someone will decide what is remembered. Someone always does. Her eyes settle on the nurse. And someone must ensure the rest stay silent. Explosions draw closer. The camp shakes. Prisoners clutch the evidence. The choice is immediate. Expose everything and risk being erased before liberation arrives, or destroy the proof and survive with the truth buried inside them forever. The doctor. Waits.com. Certain because she knows what fear usually chooses. A bomb detonates nearby. The lights go out and in the darkness. Decisions are made that history will never fully record. Asterisk. When morning comes, the camp is still standing. Smoke drifts low over the wire. Ash settles on the snow like gray dust. The air smells of burned fuel and something sharper paper, ink. History reduced to cinders. The infirmary door hangs open. Inside, the shelves are bare, the stove is warm, and the ledger, the heart of everything's gone. Liberation does not arrive with cheers. It arrives cautiously. Allied troops approach expecting resistance. Ambush, chaos. Instead, they find prisoners lined up in silence, not fear. Not relief, silence. Men and women stand still as soldiers cut through barbed wire. Some flinch at the sound. Others don't react at all. An officer calls out, "You're free." Several prisoners do not respond. One asks quietly, "Is that permanent?" Medics move through the camp, checking pulse, pupils, reflexes. Physically, many prisoners are alive. Stronger than expected. No obvious signs of torture, but something is wrong. Questions are met with hesitation. Names are forgotten. Timelines collapse into blanks. A British intelligence officer notes it in his report. Subjects display selective amnesia, emotional flattening, and extreme reluctance to discuss medical treatment received during internment. He underlines one word, twice. Selective. They search for the doctor. She is not among the torn. Dead, not among the prisoners. Not listed in any evacuation. Records, her quarters are stripped clean. No photographs. No letters. No personal items. Just a faint smell of antiseptic and smoke. One nurse finds a single sentence, etched lightly into the underside of a desk drawer, almost invisible. Silence is not emptiness. It is control. The nurse says nothing. She pockets the knowledge and walks away. In the weeks that follow, testimonies fracture. Some prisoners insist nothing unusual happened. Others break down, trying to explain something they can feel but cannot describe. A few refuse interviews entirely, staring at the floor as if waiting for permission to speak that never comes. One survivor writes in his diary, "I know something was taken from me. I just don't know what it was called." Another says, "Only this," before ending the interview. "She didn't hurt us. She decided who we were allowed to be afterward." Documents surface years later. A Red Cross memo questioning unexplained patient transfers. A classified Allied report referencing neurological compliance experiments. A hospital staffing record in post-war Europe bearing a familiar looping signature and crossed out in red dot. No trial ever mentions her name. No photograph is ever confirmed. Officially, she never existed. Historians debate the case to this day. Was she an architect of psychological warfare? A scientist exploiting chaos? Or a pragmatist who believed silence spared lives in a world addicted to cruelty? There is no consensus, because too many witnesses cannot remember enough to agree, and those who do remember often refuse to speak. One final testimony emerges decades later. A former POW, now elderly, speaks at a private gathering. His voice trembles, not with fear but effort. He says, "She told me I would live if I stayed quiet. I did, and I have lived with that decision every day since." He pauses. Freedom came later, but silence came first. The camp is gone now. The buildings dismantled. The wire sold for scrap. The ground reclaimed by forest, but something remains. In archives with missing pages. In survivors who cannot explain their nightmares. In histories that end too cleanly, because the most unsettling truth is not what happened inside that. German POW camp. It's this. Someone proved that you don't have to kill people to erase them, and somewhere beyond the ruins. The woman in the white coat walked away, confident that the silence she created would outlive the war itself.